Radio Network. And look, if you're not familiar with the Rob Ellis Show, what we do each and every week, we get a chance to sit down with someone in the business that I respect, that I think has an amazing story, that it's about perseverance, that I think it just goes to show that no matter what you're doing, no matter what line of business that you're in, no matter what's happening in life's journey, it's not linear all the time. It's not a straight line. A lot of times there's a lot of bumps in the road. There's a lot of weird turns that you got to take. And it's about just kind of stick-to-itiveness and sticking with it. And I don't think there's anybody that personifies this more than our next guest. And that would be my guy, Ike Reese, who I have had the opportunity to work with at 94 WIP for a very long time. There he is. What's up, Ike?
Robbie E., what's up, brother?
Wait, hold on. Is that a picture of you taking down Peyton Manning right behind us right now?
That is. That's at least the illusion that I'm going to give right there. That's one of his patented go down before you actually hit him type of plays. But I figured, you know what? It's a great storyteller there. Yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty good action photo that people recognize. That's one of the game's greatest. And if I'm in the photo with him, I might as well have it up on my wall.
Yeah, man. Like I have pictures of like Dr. J behind me. You actually have pictures of you doing things. That's the difference between you and me. And I think Peyton taught Eli very well that move of just go down.
Just go down.
And by the way, who are we to complain? Those guys have multiple rings. So, whatever it takes. All right, thanks, man. First of all, I appreciate it. I know how crazy your days are, and I know how early you're up and kind of prepping for the shows and all that. So I appreciate you taking a couple minutes, man. Thank you.
Oh, man, no problem. Are you kidding me, man? We go back a long ways, brother.
We do.
I'm honored to be on the show.
And I'll share one of my favorite Ike stories. I have a lot of Ike stories, but I'll share one of my favorites. But let's kind of walk through it. So, Ike, what we do each and every week, I want to show people that, like, people who may not know your background, know Ike Reese, the talk show host, know Ike Reese, the guy who tackled Peyton Manning, etc. But they don't know the journey that got you there, right? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And it takes a village and it takes a lot. And you came out of Cincinnati. Maybe weren't one of these guys that was like 4-star, 5-star that was destined for this. Just, we knew about you when you were 13, like LeBron James or whatever.
Right.
It wasn't one of those deals. So let's talk about that a little bit. I know difficult. You lost your dad at a very young age and, kind of tough circumstances when you were coming up. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing in Cincinnati and your childhood.
Oh, man. Well, obviously, I grew up with a single parent. My mother, God rest her, she passed away last year. Mm-hmm. But she raised me and my 4 brothers. Like you said, my father passed away at an early age, untimely death. A young man to sustain a heart attack at 22 years old.
Jeez.
So it I think what we come to sort of grips with is that he may have had a heart condition that wasn't known at that
pre-existing
time.
Yeah.
So he died at a young age, and like I said, my mother took on the burden and responsibility of raising me and my brothers, and it wasn't necessarily ideal circumstances and situations, but it wasn't unlike a lot of people who grow up in inner cities that grow up with single parent households. It's tough. And so, I was fortunate, honestly, Rob, to have people come into my life that saw potential in me, not just as an athlete, but just as a person, a human being, that I could honestly do something with my life that wasn't what was common for young men my age at that time, growing up in the same circumstances and situations that I grew up in. Right. So having a high school football coach, having a teacher and Karen Buckmeyer, who I still love to this day, in high school that took a special interest in me and helped me realize my potential. And the fact that I had those people in my life that stayed on me, that helped guide me, I was eventually able to sort of see my potential.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I became a father at a very early age, 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My son, Michael, who's
Mm-hmm.
31 years old right now, he's made me a grandfather.
Good looking boy. I know Michael. I know Michael from back in the day. Yes. Yes.
He's made me a grandfather. But,
yep.
You know, I always say things happen for a reason, whether you understand the reason, when it happens, and why it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I always look at, you know, becoming a dad early, and having certain people in my life that to help guide me sort of gave me structure and motivation that I didn't necessarily have at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so becoming a dad early made me want to make something of myself, do whatever I could, you know,
mm-hmm.
Not just become a regular statistic in the area in which I grew up in. So having those things at an early age really helped me sort of focus and have some sort of drive. And here's the funny thing, Rob, the athletic part of my life has always been there as a neighborhood kid. You know, you grow up in a neighborhood, you play basketball on the blacktops.
Yep.
You play football on Saturday, Sunday mornings at the playground. You play baseball on the playgrounds, and you can get enough players. You know, we used to play baseball, Rob, with 6 players. Like,
I know. You do it against the wall, or you just angle it the right way.
Exactly.
You get shortstop and left field because you don't have enough.
So, we had to make do. We had to make do the best way we could. So, all of those things helped me sort of realize that I may have some potential in athletics. But without those other things in my life, I would have never really thought about
or focused maybe
in the athletic field.
Okay.
So and I you know, at that stage as an adolescent,
right.
You know, I got a lot of friends who I grew up with who aren't here anymore.
Right.
I got a lot of relatives that should be around my age that aren't necessarily in ideal situations. So to be one of the few to sort of make it through that and to have something positive come out of your life, it'll probably always be the thing I hold nearest and dearest to my heart as a great accomplishment that I didn't allow my circumstances to overwhelm me and take me over. I was able to overcome my circumstances and make something of myself. So whether I was an athlete, whether I became what I am now in media, or if I was just a productive member of society that did honorable work as a human being, and was someone that could be respected, I think I would have found gratitude and appreciation for who I became, regardless of being an athlete.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I do want to just go back to high school for a minute. You go to Aiken High School, correct?
Yeah.
So how early in that process, do you think you have a shot to at least play Division I football? I'm not even talking about the NFL, because I know that wasn't exactly a straight path either. So walk me through high school a little bit, because this could have gone a lot of different ways, man.
Oh yeah, it's not your typical high school sort of memory lane, when you think about where I am now. So I'll try to tighten it up as best I can. I basically played 1 year of high school football. I played my junior year high school football. You know, I had dreams of being Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan.
Yeah, you played hoops too a lot. Yeah.
I wanted to be a basketball player, right? So I went to a high school that was known for basketball because I got sort of, I guess it's okay to say now, sort of recruited to come to that school.
Yeah, there's no problem with that now. Back then it was a little different. Yeah.
Right. That was frowned upon 30 years ago. So so I kind of got recruited to come there for basketball, and that's the sport that I love.
Yeah.
And I was on a pretty good team, but I was probably the 4th at best. In the coach's eyes, I was probably the 5th best player on the team.
Yeah.
But I was a starter because I had raw athletic ability.
Yeah.
But I wasn't necessarily as skillful as a basketball player as some of my teammates were, even though I thought I was at the time. So long story short, the gym teacher is also the high school football coach. So he comes up to me my in the spring of my sophomore year, we're having
Yeah.
like open gym, basketball rec. We're just having open gym after school. And he comes up to me. He needs kids to come out for the football team.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to get me to come out for the football team. He's like, listen, man, you know, you're a good sized kid. You got nice athletic ability. I could really use you out there on the football field. I could use you out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, to this point, I never really played organized football.
Wow.
I played football on the playground,
yeah,
in the neighborhood. I never worn shoulder pads, a helmet, tackled anybody. So I'm like, whatever, coach, just to get him off my back. So the summer comes and summer conditioning comes around, and I was supposed to report for summer conditioning and training and all of that, and I just didn't. I just wouldn't come. I mean, the coach was looking for me for weeks, and I was ducking and dodging. So he finally called up to me.
Yeah,
he gets me to come out to practice and everything, and you know, I get out there and I'm like, okay, it's football. I'm like, I'm not really in love with it.
Yeah,
from a playing standpoint, but it's not that bad. So lo and behold, I wound up being a little better than I thought I was as a player. They put me in. I'm starting at wide receiver and defensive end. Now, mind you, wide receiver. This was back in the running. This is back when the running shoot was first sort of instituted, and so he saw me as one of the 4 wide receivers. He thought I could be tall, lanky, and be a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, great. I can be Jerry Rice. And and so that's how he got me to come out. And so the 1 year that I played, my junior year, I didn't have a great year. I didn't have a great year as an individual player, and we weren't very good as a team. But how I got discovered was the coach who eventually wound up recruiting me from Michigan State was actually there to see several players on the opponent that I was facing.
Okay.
So the team that I was facing was a very good football team in the city.
Yeah.
It was our homecoming. They wound up beating us like, I don't know, 50-14 or something like that.
It's supposed to be the other way on homecoming.
Yeah, exactly. Who schedules the best team in the city for homecoming? Yeah. I don't know whose idea that was. But it just so happened I had a good game that game. I scored a touchdown. I might have had like 8 or 9 catches for about, 100 yards or something like that. And so that's how the Michigan State recruiter saw me.
You got on the radar that night.
Yes, that night. So that's how I started getting recruited. So I only got recruited, or I got offered by Michigan State, University of Cincinnati, Illinois, and Ball State. Those are the only schools that actually gave me a scholarship offer. The rest of the schools, I got letters from everybody, questions. But once they realized I couldn't play my senior year because I was ineligible.
Because of the transfer.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's how.
This is crazy. Basically one game, man. I mean.
Yes.
That must have been a hell of a game.
So check this out. So here's how I didn't get to play my senior year for everybody who wants to know why I didn't get to play my senior year. We dress it up as transferring issues, paperwork issues.
Right.
But really, I had dropped out of school in the previous school I was at.
Okay.
In the 10th grade.
Okay.
And I had to repeat the 10th grade, even though I switched to another school.
Right.
So once I repeated the 10th grade, it really was my 3rd year in high school. It would have been my junior year.
Right.
So my junior year in high school was my senior year, technically.
Yeah, it's a red shirt, but not really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a red shirt year. So that's why I wasn't eligible to play my senior year.
Did you know that, Ike? Or did that get sprung on you right before your senior year?
I did not know it. It made sense to me once it was explained to me.
Oh, your coach must have been beside himself that he didn't have you for senior year.
Seriously, Rob, we literally tried to fight the case and took it to the Ohio High School Athletics Association Board for a hearing.
Wow.
To try to get me at least a half semester of eligibility.
Okay.
And they wouldn't budge. They wouldn't budge. So I got ruled ineligible my senior year, I think a week before the season started. A week before the season started.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, a week. So I had practiced my whole senior year. I'm getting ready. Like, I'm getting ready for a big senior year.
Oh, man.
And I'm thinking I'm going to have opportunities to go to multiple schools, wherever I choose to go to, because I feel that's how good I'm going to be my senior year. But they ruled me ineligible. And so we didn't know what we were going to do, but I named those 4 schools. Those were the schools that stuck with me.
That's awesome.
Even though I wasn't eligible. And the 2 main schools was Michigan State and Cincinnati. So you'll get a kick out of this. The recruiter from Cincinnati was none other than John Harbaugh.
That's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
That is destiny. That is some destiny stuff right there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was my recruiter in high school, and he and I, we still laugh about this to this day, because I committed to Michigan State, and Michigan State was the first visit I went on, and Cincinnati was supposed to be the next week's visit.
Okay.
And I got so enamored with being at Michigan State that I committed the next day on the visit, without even taking a trip to anywhere else.
So Harbaugh doesn't even have a shot here with you.
Yeah, and listen, he wasn't happy either. So he was not. Well, and he wasn't happy, and it's my fault. He wasn't happy because I wasn't honest with him.
Okay.
So I committed to Michigan State thinking nobody would know I committed to Michigan State.
And then those words travel in those circles.
And there's no social medias, but he still found out 30 years ago. And so he wasn't happy that I lied to him, but he still wanted to bring me in for the visit. Because
you had verbally committed, but you hadn't signed on the dotted line
exactly.
yet. Okay.
I verbally committed, but I hadn't signed anything.
Yeah.
And I think this might be the first time I'm saying this. I was put off by our interaction.
You and John, you're saying specifically. Yeah.
That I decided I didn't want to take the visit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he called you and was like, yo, man, what are you doing?
He came to the school.
Oh, he showed up at your high school?
He came up to my school Monday. They pulled me out of class.
Ooh. Oh, man, that's one of those where you feel like you're going to get, mom's going to take care of you behind the woodshed. Right. One of those deals.
Right.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Again, it's my fault.
Right.
Because I haven't told anybody I committed to Michigan State, but Michigan State.
Ooh.
So honestly, I was still trying to take the visit to Cincinnati.
Just to have a fun time.
That's
awesome. So Harbaugh sniffs all this out and is like, yo, man, what's going on?
Yes.
Right?
Oh. And when he came up and we spoke, I was just like, you know what? No, nah. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. So I stuck with Michigan State. And the reason why we laugh about it is because he left 2 years later. Right, he left Cincinnati 2 years later. So
right, you would have been there without him anyway.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So we ran into each other my senior year. He was the defensive backs coach at Indiana.
Okay.
So we're playing Indiana in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
We ran into each other after the game. Came up to each other. He said, "Man, I'm so proud of you and what you've done in your career.
Right.
Good luck the rest of the way." Little did I know, he was about to get hired by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. And was probably your biggest proponent to be an NFL player.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I don't make it out of my rookie year without John Harbaugh fighting for me.
Damn. That is, but this is why I like doing this, Ike, because it isn't just about X's and O's. It's about like networking and life. And that's why I always tell like my son or my daughter, I'm like, hey man, you never know.
You never know, man. Yeah.
You know, network, make friends, don't burn bridges.
Don't burn bridges.
Yes, don't commit to Michigan State without telling anybody. All right, listen, hang 1 second, Ike, because this is where it really gets fascinating. Not only at Michigan State do you play for George Perlis, play for Nick Saban. Like, I don't know that people realize this, man.
Yeah.
You actually don't talk about it a ton on the radio show. So I'm going to get into that. And then the Eagles years, which is amazing. And if people don't know, Ike, while he was playing, and this was rare back then, especially, did an internship at Comcast Sportsnet, having the forethought to know that I'm not going to be playing football for 40 years, man. I got to think about what's next, which is props to you in a big way. So hang one second, Ike, if you can. This is we'll get a quick timeout here. We come right back. We'll dive into the college years and the Eagles years with my man, Ike Reese. You are watching the Rob Ellis Show on the A2D radio network. Right back.
Hey Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
All right, we're back. Rob Ellis Show, A2D Radio Network with Ike Reese. All right, Ike, so when we left off, you commit it, you're done deal. Even basically one game gets you that ride. It's just unbelievable. I never knew. I knew it was choppy in high school. I didn't know it was that, but that's cool, man. Yeah. All right, so you go to Michigan State. Now, are you immediately like, whoa, man, I'm in a different league? Or did you just say right away, I can play with these dudes?
No. I was still shocked they offered me a scholarship. I was afraid they were going to realize one day.
You were ahead of the game no matter what happened, right?
Exactly.
In some ways,
I was already winning,
yeah.
So I was always, and this is probably a sort of an interpersonal thing with me. When you sort of don't feel like you're worthy of something, so you never get complacent, and you're always striving.
Fear of failing always can keep you motivated.
And that's sort of always been a personality trait that I've had. I think it's allowed me to be successful and never get complacent. But that's what I was like in Michigan State. Everybody was so big. I went to school at 195 pounds, 6'3".
Jeez.
And I'm wondering, I'm asking, are y'all sure y'all want me to play linebacker here? Like, I'm looking at the size of some of these guys, and
like 40 pounds bigger, right? I
mean,
at least.
I just didn't see it. I didn't see what they saw in me.
Okay. So,
honestly, being at Michigan State, Rob, I had doubts about 2 to 3 weeks into training camp. I wanted to leave school. I wanted to transfer back home. I was thinking about going back to Cincinnati.
Okay.
I was really homesick the first 6 months of me being at Michigan State. So I wound up redshirting.
Okay.
I had no shot at playing just because mentally I wasn't. I just wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was more or less. I felt like a fish out of water.
Mm-hmm.
Being on this huge campus, having these expectations of being a Division I football player. I'm like, I only got 1 year of high school football in me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can live up to these expectations. And what happens if I'm not any good? Are they going to take the scholarship away from me? I got to go back home. So I got all these things going through my mind my first year at Michigan State, and I just wasn't ready mentally to play. And I'm glad I didn't play, because it gave me a chance to sit back and observe and watch my teammates and guys that had played high school ball since they were 8, 9. I mean, had played football since they were 8, 9 years old.
Right.
And they had been recruited for years. So while all this stuff was new to me, it was familiar territory to a lot of my teammates. So I got a chance to just sit back and watch those guys, and it helped me out a lot. And by the time I got to spring ball, my freshman year, by the time I got to spring ball, I was mentally ready to go. So I wound up winning the starting job coming out of spring ball, going into my red shirt freshman year. And I didn't look back after that.
Wow.
Once I started having success and I started to, build my body up and And here's the funny thing: me building my body up only went from 195 to 205.
There's only so much you could do. Yeah,
it didn't go a whole. It didn't go up to 235.
Right.
But my confidence did,
mm-hmm.
and so I felt like I belonged. And after my red shirt year, I became a 4-year starter.
So how long till Saban takes over from Perlis? What year?
After my red shirt year. So it would have been my red shirt sophomore season, my third year.
Now tell us about playing for him, man. I don't know if he was quite what he is now, in terms of some of the philosophies and how he seems to be tough on players, man.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, did it make you better or did it kind of beat you down?
Oh yeah. Listen, well, that part of him is still the same. I mean, he's probably more fierce now than he was 25 years ago, but that was in his DNA and his drive and his he's going to push you to perfection. He's going to push you to get the maximum ability out of yourself. Where you don't think you can go, he's going to take you there.
Okay.
And that's what, first of all, let me start with Coach Perlis. Coach Perlis gave me the confidence to be able to be a football player at the collegiate level. He took a liking to recruiting kids with similar backgrounds that I had because he had a similar background growing up.
Okay.
And so that whole Spartan dog mentality, it originates from players that come from backgrounds like myself who have the ability to be mentally tough and to overcome adverse situations. So I want to first throw props to Coach Perlis, who ironically, Rob, Nick Saban worked for Coach Perlis as his defensive coordinator when they won the Rose Bowl in 1988.
Oh, wow.
So he was already previously at Michigan State under Coach Perlis.
Okay.
And that's how they had an idea of what he was like as a coach and why they wanted to bring him back.
Okay.
So when he came back, he brought a sense of, I believe, cohesion. He had an idea. He had what is today known as a program that he wanted to implement that we had to buy into. And if you didn't buy into it, you were out of there.
Right.
And he didn't make it easy. So his first year, he's trying to weed out all the bad apples that has caused us to be the program that we had become from a player standpoint, whether you're a committed player that is committed to your training, your nutrition, or you're a committed student athlete. Do you go to class? Do you get good grades? Like, he came in and brought a sense of accountability to everyone. And so that forced us to either go along with the program or get out of it. And I was already committed from a mental standpoint that I'm a Michigan State Spartan. Yeah. And if this is what I have to endure to fulfill my promise of being a Spartan, then this is what I have to do.
Right.
And so, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It wasn't easy. And even when you thought you did well, he made sure you felt this small afterwards. But he was so smart. He's such an intelligent football coach when it comes to understanding the game. And so I became a better student of the game because of him.
Right.
Before him, I'm just using raw athletic ability.
Right.
But he forced you to anticipate what was going to happen before and then what's going to happen next. Yeah. So he always had a plan. And I think that's where he made a lot of us better football players because we became better thinkers of the game.
Well, and look, all that stuff plays into, where we're going with this. So you have a really good career at Michigan State. Now, where were you anticipating getting drafted? Were you anticipating getting drafted? The knock was you're undersized, right? Obviously, but had a very productive career there. But did you play a lot of special teams at Michigan State? Was that something? None. Wow. None. Okay. So you end up, you go 5th round, 142nd overall in the 98 draft. Were you disappointed? Were you just, hey, I got a shot? That's the way I look at it. The door's open, man. I'm going to, bust through. How did you view the whole draft process?
All of what you just said.
Okay.
I was disappointed on Saturday So,
Okay.
you remember back then, Rob, it was just 2 days.
Yeah, it wasn't what it is now, clearly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So they would do the first 3 rounds on Saturday.
Right.
And then do 4 through 7 on Sunday.
Okay.
So my agent had told me prior to, like you can go anywhere from 3 to 5, 3 to 6. So obviously in my head, I'm thinking, best case scenario, I should be a 3rd round draft pick. First of all, I'm wondering, like, I'm only a 3rd rounder? Like, really? Like, okay, whatever. But if I'm a 3rd rounder, great. And I'll take that. So the problem was I watched the draft on Saturday. My mother, she threw a draft party on Saturday.
Oh no. Oh.
So I got the family, I got friends, I got everybody over on Saturday.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, family makes it worse because all they do is tell you how great you were and how you should have been drafted already.
Yeah. Oh, you see that guy who just won it and you're like, I say it, dude. Trust me, I know. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not making me feel any better. So I got through the embarrassment internally Saturday. Like I said, it was a great weekend.
Right.
It was great to have family around, but internally I felt a little embarrassed that I didn't get drafted Saturday.
Sure.
In front of everybody. So Sunday, it wasn't as much hoopla on Sunday at the house.
Yes. Good point.
Only a few people there Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So I get the call Sunday morning. I think it was around 11.
Okay.
Somewhere around 11 or 12. I got the call, and it was my old offensive line coach at Michigan State, Jim Bowman. He had got hired by the Eagles as the tight ends coach.
Okay.
So he was the tight ends coach under Ray Rhodes. So he was the one that called me and then told me that he was going to put Coach Ray Bob on the phone. And then Ray got on the phone. And, Ray got to talking to me. Like, hey, man, I can't do my Ray Bob impersonation, but it was all type of different words.
Yeah, the language was a little colorful. Yeah, we'll just say that. Yeah, a little salty. Yeah.
So when he asked me, do I want to become a Philadelphia Eagle? I was like, hell yeah, coach, let's go.
Okay.
So I didn't say anything. I wanted my family to see my name.
See it on the TV.
Yeah, I wanted them to see it come up. And so it was a great moment when it finally happened. And I tell you, like I said, I was disappointed Saturday, but when they called my name, Rob, I may as well been the #1 overall pick in the draft.
Yeah. Flip the switch, man. Just ready to roll.
I'm going to Philadelphia.
Yep.
A team that's known for defense, hard-nosed. They got a black head coach. Like, all these things are going through my mind. I'm like, I'm going to the right situation. I'm going to Philly. Yeah, it's going to be great.
All right, so let me before we get to the season in '98, which but before we get there, were you like the classic we hear all the time, waiting for the Turk? Like, I always reference the Invincible scene where he's in the dorm room and he's watching like shadows go by under the door. Yeah. Like, was that you, or did you feel you did a pretty good job and you had a good shot at making it? No. Okay.
Nah, here's the funny thing. I felt that way, and Trotter felt that way. But Trotter was a 3rd round pick, so everybody, we was pretty much like, dude, you're good. You're straight. You're a 3rd round draft pick. But that's how tough of a training camp he had. And he had some personal reasons. I think I know his father had passed that summer. Yep. So he wasn't there mentally. So and I'm a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah. So
we're both a little bit on edge as to whether or not we're going to make the team.
Yep.
But I always knew that once John Harbaugh had pulled me to the side, and I became sort of a project for him.
Okay.
Right? Because like I said, I hadn't played special teams in college.
Yeah.
So he had to teach me a lot of the technical parts of playing special teams so that my natural athletic ability could take over. And I felt more like I was going to make the team than I wasn't, but I wasn't completely sure.
Right.
I wasn't completely sure, but I knew I had done a lot on special teams that summer that it gave me a chance to make the team, because Emmett Thomas, who was our defensive coordinator, he had already told me and Trot, like y'all can forget about playing defense. We got our linebackers. We got our linebackers.
Willie T and that crew, right?
Willie T, James Willis, James Darwin.
Yep.
He said, the way you're going to make this team is on special teams. So
it's kind of good in a way. You're like, dude, I got to kill it here. You know,
kind of new.
Yeah,
that's the way I looked at it. I'm like, okay, so that means I don't have to worry about as much of knowing the defense.
Yeah, I'm going all in
need
special
to make
teams.
Sure I can be all in on special teams.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of did you a favor.
And that was my approach to it.
Okay, interesting. So, all right, you make it, right? You make it huge. I mean, that's incredible. And you're going back 5-6 years ago, you weren't even playing football, right? So you're an NFL player. Unbelievable. It was not a great year. Okay. I'm being kind. It was the
end. Yes, you are. Yes,
Rays last year was not good. I think 3-13. Ike, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
So at that point,
it may as well been 0-16.
It was bad.
Because that's what it felt like.
Are you like questioning everything? Like, man, what is this? Like, what the hell? We're getting killed every week. Like, we're not even competitive. Everything was off the rails. I know there was like 3 different offensive coordinators or play call. Like, you're like, this is the NFL. Like, how weird was that first year?
This is the crazy part, Rob. Because we got the team success or lack thereof going on. I'm just happy to be in the NFL as a rookie.
Right.
I'm out there on TV. People can see me. I'm on the field. So I'm happy from that standpoint. But here's the other thing. I'm playing terrible as a special teams player.
Oh.
Like, I'm getting penalties every other week.
Oh, no. I didn't realize this.
Man, holding calls.
Oh, no. And Harbaugh's got to be out of his mind, right?
Yeah, unnecessary roughness, penalties, like all type of stupid stuff.
Yeah.
That I'm thinking I'm giving effort and playing my hardest to help the team win, and it's just hurting the team.
Oh.
So, and this is no exaggeration, I literally I got called in to Harbaugh's office one Monday morning. I think it was after we played the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night and lost like 34-0, 38-0, something like that. I think I had 3 penalties in that game.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
I had 3 penalties.
And is he basically like, dude, you're here because of me. You got to clean this up.
This is what he said.
Okay.
You're not going to be here very long. Yeah, that's what he told me.
Wow.
You're not going to be here very long. If we don't get this cleaned up, they're ready to get rid of you.
Wow.
Oh, Angelo's calling for me to be cut Monday or Tuesday morning.
Oh, my God.
Angelo's calling for me to be cut. Glenn McNow's calling for me to be cut.
Oh.
Like, because when the team is that bad, everybody wants their pound of flesh.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
So,
you want to be able to point a finger at whoever. Yeah.
So I made it easy for everyone that Tuesday morning after that embarrassment on Monday Night Football. So John, I remember John called me in and he's like, man, I love you. And you can have a 10-year career in the NFL. That's how good I think you are. But you can't keep doing boneheaded things. You can't keep doing things that hurt the team. Like, they're ready to move on from you. They're ready to make an example out of somebody.
Damn.
And so I never forget that conversation, man. And from that point on, I went from thinking about special teams as just a throwaway,
kind of whatever.
Yeah, whatever, to really trying to become a better technical player.
Yeah.
Get your arms inside. Make sure you're not holding. Move your feet.
Yeah.
Know how to avoid blocks. Understand where the returns are coming from.
Right.
Like, I really had to learn how to play special teams after that. And it was because of that conversation that I started taking special teams serious.
Huh.
Because before then, I just looked at it as, man, eventually I'm going to be a starter. So I don't even know why I'm playing special teams. I'm just out here.
Yeah, this is my road to start.
Yeah, this is my road to being a starter. So, but it was that conversation with Harbs that really let me know, man. And that year was bad, man. That was a bad year. And everybody, we knew they were getting fired. I think it was around week 12.
Oh.
Week 11, week 12. Emmett Thomas basically, they spoke to the defense and they basically told us, like, this ain't going to end well. We're probably going to be out of here after the season, but we're trying to make sure we take care of our guys. In other words, we want to put y'all in position so that the organization isn't necessarily discarding all of you guys. because they felt like the best players on the team was on the defensive side of the ball at that time.
That gave you a little bit of solace,
Yeah.
I guess, in what a messy situation it was.
Yeah. And
Wow.
but he kind of told us, like, listen, don't take these games for granted. Put some stuff on film.
Yeah, in case you're not here. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
Right.
so they the way they kind of handled that late in the year, I was appreciative of that.
That's a professional way to handle it rather than just kind of like, whatever, man, let's just ride it out. Because knowing you're probably going to be gone to tell you guys that, I think says a lot about Emmett Thomas and the coach.
Ray, man, that's how they were. That's why I still love those guys to this day.
All right, let's our last one here, last break, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about when everything changed, man, the Andy Reid years, and then your present day career. So don't go anywhere. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue with Ike Reese on the Rob Ellis Show, A2D Radio Network. Right back.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
All right, we are back. We're back with my guy, Ike Reese. I am Rob Ellis Show, A2D Radio Network. All right, Ike. So we left off. Ray goes, and there's a lot of uncertainty, obviously. Hey, your head's got to be spinning. Rookie year, coaches out.
Yeah.
Did you know anything about Andy Reid? Have any familiarity when he got there? And how quickly did you know, wow, this is different in a positive way when Andy took things over?
Well, I had never heard of Coach Reid prior to his name popping up in that search. I can still remember back to most of us thought Jim Haslett.
He was a big hot candidate at the time.
Yeah. So we thought he was going to get the job. I think he was with Pittsburgh at the time. So we kind of thought he was coming over from Pittsburgh and we get job. So when Coach Reid came in and he was just the quarterback's coach in Green Bay, not even the offensive coordinator, we were like, okay, Andy Reid, who is this guy? We quickly found out, who Andy Reid was. And to the question you brought up, how quickly did we know? Spring ball.
Okay.
Spring ball.
Big difference.
Because Andy was so well organized. There was a method to his madness. Mm-hmm. To whatever it is we were doing from a structural organizational standpoint, where you set up meeting times, weightlifting time, when is lunch, meetings, practice, meetings after practice. Like Andy was meticulous with all that stuff. And whereas with Ray Bob, it was more or less free flowing. Like, and I was a rookie, so I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So when Andy came in my second year, he changed up a lot of stuff that Ray did as a coach. And he let us know that, he said, and I think Andy and Ray had coached together in San Francisco. They may have crossed paths somewhere. So Andy came in and spoke highly of Ray, but also let us know things are going to be different.
Right. Did it respectfully. He wasn't burying Ray out the door.
Right.
Like, hey, this is a new deal now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to do things a little differently. And certain things that were allowed aren't going to be allowed. Road trips, the way you dress, things that are allowed on the road, like the stuff, all that stuff. Like he kind of laid all that stuff out. And we had such long practices in the spring and training camp. Like Ray's practice, man, you get in and out of there, man. It's like, man, that was a nice day at work today.
Would have worked for these days, the way things are done now. Yeah.
Andy was all about the long days, man.
Okay.
Andy, we would get in there 6:30 a.m. and we're leaving out at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that's how long of a day. And he had everything mapped out.
Okay.
From walkthroughs to meetings to lunch to post-practice meetings, like all of those things. Andy kind of felt like, and I know what it is now, but I didn't know then. But the more you're consumed with football, You
The
don't have
outside
time
noise.
for other stuff.
Yeah, your tunnel vision. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
You don't have time for other stuff. And when we do let you out of here, because of the next day's schedule, you're going to be so tired, you're going home.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So things start to slowly turn around. 99, you could see some signs, right? There's some signs. Okay, there's something here. You draft
Rob, you remember the George Hageman deal?
Oh, yeah. So for people who may not remember this, so just walk us through this, Ike, because the end result is George Hageman pushing his sled. But what did George do that really got Andy's ire? What set him up here?
So I want to say he lost his starting job to, I don't know if it was Mayberry or somebody else. It might have been another guard, or tackle that he lost his starting
Wellborn,
job
to. One of those guys, maybe.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Now that's how I know I'm getting old. I can't even remember.
I'm with you. I was there, and I don't remember either. So we're both old. Yes.
So he was frustrated with that and decided he wasn't going to show up to practice.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
So he didn't show up to practice to show his frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And so Andy, you know what eventually happened? Andy brought him back in, and after practice, Andy allowed the media to gather around,
which is so unlike him to let the media. Yeah.
Oh, I still think it's the only time he's ever done it. He's ever did this.
Yeah.
So he allowed the media to gather after practice while George Hageman ran his wind sprints for basically skipping practice the day before.
Yeah.
So running the wind sprints wasn't the big deal. Like, you knew you were going to get some punishment for what you did. It was putting it on display for everybody to see.
Right.
That he meant business.
Mm-hmm.
So believe me, we as the players, we got the message.
So Ike, did he, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to make sure I remember this right. After he did all that stuff to George, then he cut him too, right?
Then he cut him. Yes.
Whoa, man.
And he cut him. Yeah.
Okay. So they definitely know there's a new sheriff in town.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
I forgot that was the biggest thing. Yeah. Then he cut him.
Yeah. Then he cut him. Yeah. So, 99, you get Donovan. There's, like you said, the defense was already pretty good in place. You didn't have to do a ton there, but Jim Johnson obviously becomes a huge upgrade there. And, but 2000, you start to see it, man. You start to really see it. You guys become a playoff team. But this is one of my all-time favorite stories because I love how truthful you are about this. Let's go to Pickle Juice game. Because to me, here's why this game's fascinating on a million levels, right? It's fascinating that I really believe Andy Reid was like, we're making a statement to the Cowboys and everybody else in the NFC East, the NFC, and football that the Eagles are back. You guys are in Dallas. It's insanely hot, okay? Like crazy hot. You're playing on that turf and all that other stuff. So walk me through this. During the week, are you guys talking about an onside kick to start the game? And then before the game, you had some misgivings. You're like, dude, I don't know about this. Is this really how we want to start a season? So tell me about this whole thing. Because Harbaugh's in on it, Andy's in on it, and they're consulting you on this as well, right?
Yeah. Me and Mike Caldwell. Harbs came up to us prior to the game. So yeah, we practice now. Don't get me wrong. We practice onside kicks every week.
Yeah.
We just don't use them every week. So we don't know.
You use them if it's desperation usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Harb comes up to me and Mike Caldwell in the locker room prior to us going out for warm-ups. And he's like, be ready. Andy's thinking about doing a surprise onside kick. And I'm like, to start the game? Like, yeah. So I waited till Harb's left.
Right.
And I'm talking to Zeke, Mike Caldwell, and I'm like, dude, this is not a good idea.
Yeah,
bro.
what are we doing?
This might be the dumbest thing we've ever done, bro. Like, this is not gonna work. Yeah. And I seriously hope we don't do it. So we go out there to warm-ups. And we're getting ready to go. Coach, so obviously him and John have already talked and they decided they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So coach comes over to the huddle, so for kickoffs, we get pumped up, we get ourselves jacked up, we're over there headbutting each other, we're getting ready to go. 1, 2, 3, hit squad, all of that stuff. Coach Reid comes over and he says, all right, we're running it. We're going. Oh. I'm like, I don't know, Coach. You think we should? He said, I'm not going to say exactly what he said.
Yeah, yeah.
But he said, "Shut up, you big bleep."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And get ready to go hit somebody.
Yes. Oh my God. So you guys,
and he gave me the wink, right? So
yeah.
Andy, Coach Reid, he doesn't curse, he doesn't really use that type of language, but
Yeah.
he was so fired up to do this. They must have knew it was going to work. They saw something on film.
Yeah.
And they knew Dallas's kickoff return team leaves early, so it would work. I'm just thinking of the worst case scenario. Like, this is not going to work, man.
Yeah, yeah.
We shouldn't do this. And when he called me the P word, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, then let's go. I was like, I got mad at myself. I was like, okay, let me show him.
Yep.
And to his credit, it worked to a T.
And you guys put it on them.
Man.
Yeah.
It set the tone.
Did you, let me ask you, because me as an observer, I'm like, now the Eagles are on the map. Like, did you feel like Andy realized the magnitude, even though it was only the first game, like, we're sending a statement here to everybody?
He knew.
Yeah.
He knew. But he had the wisdom to be able to see the big picture that I couldn't see,
yeah,
that maybe some of my teammates couldn't see.
Right. And
he was really letting us know, this is how much I believe in you all.
Yeah.
This is the type of team we're going to be. And Rob, to this day, to me, that's the game that set in motion who the Eagles are today and who Andy Reid is as a coach.
Wow.
Like, to me, that day, that game, that play, as you get older and you reflect back on these things, I'm like, no, that's Coach Reid. That's him. That's him. And so, yeah, that play, man, that will always be one of my favorite games, one of my favorite plays of my entire career. That will always rank up there with the best of them.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That set the tone for even today's Eagles and Andy Reid today. That moment. Wow, that's pretty cool, man. So the team starts playing really well. When do you start really coming into your own as a special teamer? And now you're getting some time as a linebacker too. But when obviously it was rough early, as Harbaugh was like, you're almost out of here. When did you start to kind of turn the corner as a player too? Obviously by that point, they have a great deal of respect for you because they're talking to you about, strategy before a game.
Right. Yeah. So I think at some point I just started to soak up this wealth of knowledge that was around me. I had great players around me. I'm Mike Caldwell, Willie T. Jeremiah was young, but Jeremiah was very smart.
Oh, yeah.
As a middle linebacker, and he was our starting middle linebacker there. So I got a chance to soak up knowledge from all of those guys. Mike Caldwell told me early in my career, might have been my rookie year, might have been my second year, but he told me, he said, well, what was your dream? To play in the NFL or play linebacker in the NFL? I said, man, to play in the NFL.
That's
he said,
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said, so as long as you have that mentality, you'll do what's asked of you to remain in the NFL, and you can play a long time. And I always took that to heart.
Yeah.
Taking notes. And then once I started to branch out and tap into guys like Troy Vincent, Bobby Taylor, Brian Dawkins, Hugh Douglas, Hollis Thomas, because I played a little bit of everything. I was the Okie linebacker, the Joker linebacker, and Jim Johnson's nickel defense. So I played a little defensive end. I played a little hybrid linebacker. There was times where I had to be out in coverage. So I had to know a lot about the game. So I used all those guys. And I tell you, it wasn't until my third year when, A, the Eagles came to me with an extension, and B, Jim Johnson was telling me how much he thought of me as a player.
Wow.
And what I could do if I just put my mind to it and everything. Because Jim was one of those people that he didn't throw around compliments.
Yeah.
And so from a coach being as hard on you as he can be to, giving you words of encouragement and stuff you can hold on to, it's almost like winning your father's appreciation.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what it felt like when Jim Johnson would put in stuff in his defense and allow me to be a part of it.
That's cool.
and trusted me with it. And so when I earned his respect, man, my confidence went through the roof.
No doubt.
It went through the roof because then I stopped worrying about making mistakes and whether or not I wasn't good enough. If Jim Johnson thinks I'm good enough, and Brian Dawkins thinks I'm good enough, and Troy Vincent and Willie T, if these guys think I'm good enough to play, just go and play.
That's
just
awesome.
go ahead and play. So, yeah, it started to take off for me in that third year. And it started to take off for us 14 that year because that's the first year we made it to the conference championship against the Rams.
So you guys, everybody's you're hitting your stride, man. It almost got to the point, like for me, where it was like, and I can't. It's tough for a team when it's like this, Ike. But like it was like, all right, call me when they get to the conference final. You know, like
right,
you know what I mean? Like, and it's like you're not appreciating the fact that this team is rolling through the regular season, winning the NFC East every single year. You see how hard it is now. Nobody wins it back-to-back years.
Right.
But you guys were just machines.
I'm still part of the last team that win it back.
I know, right? Yeah. So you guys were machines, but you couldn't quite get over the hump, man. Like, how hard is that for you as such a competitor who puts everything into it? You knew how good you guys were, but you couldn't quite get over that hump. How hard was that leading up to that 04 season?
Oh, it was very difficult because here's the difficult part. We couldn't, or at least from my standpoint, I couldn't figure out why can't we play our best game on this day?
Yeah.
Like, as many games that we've won over the last 4 or 5 years, like go through that 4 or 5 year run, playoff games, big opponents we've beaten. Like, why do we get to this game and we don't play our best game?
Right.
I couldn't understand it for the life of me. And it was frustrating. And it was all of us. It was all of us. Like, we all had parts in it, whether it was the defense, whether it was special teams, whether it was the offense, whether it was coaching. At times, we just could never, until we beat Atlanta, we didn't play our best on that day. And that's the most disappointing thing, because I know how good we were as a team. But in football, you don't get a 5-game series, a 7-game series.
Yeah.
You get one shot. You get one shot at it. And if you're not good that day and that other team is ready to go, they're going to send you home. And that was the most frustrating part to me, is that feeling like you're better than those teams that you faced, but somehow you didn't play better than them on the day you should have.
Right. So, all right, well, let's go to then the joyous moment, man. You the Falcons at your place, you finally get over that hump, man. Like, tell me about that feeling after that game, after it finally hit 0 and you could take a deep relief, finally did it, man. What was that like?
Oh, it was exhilarating. It was everything I thought it would be. We had waited long enough to experience the confetti falling down in our stadium. We had walked off that field so many times, disappointed, dejected. I literally walked off the field the year before against Carolina after we lost, crying. I was crying. I had the ugly Joel Embiid cry going. I had, from the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah. Marc Gasol, giving you the hug. Yeah.
I had that cry going after the Carolina game. So to finally win it and to beat Atlanta, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling. And the crazy part is, we felt like at that time still that we were the best team in the NFL. Like, we felt like we were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We really did. We really felt like, man, we got the best team in the league, even though T.O. wasn't there and being ready to go and able to play. And we didn't know he was going to play in the Super Bowl at this time.
Right.
We still felt like the Patriots aren't some overwhelming team with talent that we can't beat them. So we felt good about it, man. We felt good after that game. And it was great to see the coaches. It was, I'll tell you, the one thing I'll never forget, man, is Jim Johnson tearing up, having tears in his eyes, hugging his wife. I'll never forget that, because obviously Jim didn't show that type of emotion. So to see that, it really put into perspective how much it meant to him, and how much it meant to a lot of us. Like Andy had experienced winning a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, but Jim hadn't. Like Jim hadn't been in a Super Bowl. A lot of us hadn't been in a Super Bowl. Tommy Brazier. So to see Coach Johnson just in that emotional moment, that's one of the things that I always take from that night. Obviously, the confetti, high-fiving the fans, running around with the T-shirts on, the hats, the celebration in the locker room. But when you step back and you say, man, it's bigger than the game of football, that's the picture that I see from that night.
All right, not to belay, I don't really want to get into the Super Bowl. We know what happened. But two things I want to hit you with. One, how wild was it that T.O. played in that game? Like we from the outside, it was sort of, we didn't know if like Andy was playing games a little bit. Oh, he may not play. You know how that works, gamesmanship.
Yeah.
Did you guys really not know even like up until Sunday that he wasn't going to go?
Well, if I'm being honest, Friday, there was a group of us. We always hung out in the training room late that week, just talking.
Yeah.
Just talking. And T.O. was there with us that night. You know, Dog, Trot, some other guys. And T.O. was just talking about the potential that he could play Sunday, but some of the things that needed to be done in order for him to play Sunday. And part of it was he was going to have to sign a waiver to clear himself.
Yeah, Eagles made him get clear.
Yeah, so
because the doctor wouldn't sign off.
Right.
Right.
So we didn't know what was going to happen from that standpoint.
That's crazy.
But watching him that week, I wouldn't have thought he was going to play. I mean, he slept in that hyperbaric chamber pretty much all week. And I think that Friday afternoon when we did, Fridays was normally like our lightest practice.
Yeah.
So we're on one end of the field and he's at the other end of the field trying to go through some drills with Rick Burkholder. And he's gingerly moving around. Like he's not even running half speed. He's like he's gingerly moving around on his ankle. So most of us are like, yeah, there's no way he's playing Sunday. There's no way. There's no way he can play. He can't even get through walkthrough without looking like he's in pain. So I still say to this day, it's the most, I think it's the most miraculous thing that happened that week for Super Bowl Sunday was T.O. playing. You know, the game was what it was. I didn't think it was a very exciting game.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they gave Deion Branch the Super Bowl MVP.
Right. Yeah.
That tells you a lot right there. But I thought T.O. and his performance was by far the brightest thing that shined for that Super Bowl Sunday.
I agree. Nothing short of amazing.
Man, it's I still can't believe he did it. I still can't believe
I can't either, man. All right, last thing I want to hit you with, but and like we appreciate you giving us this much time.
No problem, man.
Do you look back now? Does it tick you off if there was any shenanigans going on with the Patriots, or have you just long moved on? Like, how do you feel? Because I know I've done shows with some of your teammates who are still angry, and other guys are just like, dude, I can't keep carrying this around, man. Like, I gotta move on. Like, where are you? Where are you with it?
That's I'm probably more in that category than I am upset. Yeah. I had my moments years ago where I was like, man, those SOBs cheated us out of the Super Bowl, and they know they did.
Yeah.
But then I think back like, well, we didn't play all that great either that day.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So, you know, and here's the other thing, Rob. They can't give us a parade now for it. So
what difference does it make now? Yeah. And they're not taking it away from the Patriots anyway.
Yes.
I hear you.
Yeah, I've kind of and winning the Super Bowl in 2017, 18, the way that we did.
Yes.
There's a little poetic justice.
Revenge.
I was okay with that.
Okay. Well, all right.
Okay
Let's, ironically enough, that's your last game as an Eagle too, which I don't know if people always realize that, but you moved on to Cincinnati or to Atlanta right after that.
Yeah.
And you closed your career in Atlanta, which we won't get into the Trotter getting kicked out part of the game. We'll move on from that.
Thank you for sparing me with
that.
But
but here's what I love about you along the way. You always had, the big picture in mind. So as you're playing, Ike, you start doing media stuff. And in fact, as I mentioned, you interned at Comcast Sportsnet, which is look, man, I worked there a long time. I never saw any pro athletes interning there. Okay. That tells me a lot. Like it's, it tells you a lot. It's a humbling experience, whatever, but you cared. How quickly into your NFL career did you know I may want to do the media thing afterwards?
I knew immediately. The funny thing was I thought it would be TV.
Okay.
So, yeah, I hadn't been introduced to the whole sports talk radio aspect of it until like my second or third year in the league and being turned on to it. But being a communications major, I always thought, being an analyst would be something that I would enjoy doing once the game was over with. And I was blessed to come to a city like Philadelphia that's a major media market. A lot of former players have gotten into the media throughout the years. And so it was almost like it was destined. It was almost like I was placed in the right city for the right team to help realize what would be or could be even greater than what I thought was my greatest accomplishment, what was making it to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that I could have a second career that could be as equally, if not surpass what I did as a football player. And being here in Philadelphia helped me realize that. Wow. So I had guys like, again, Mike Caldwell, Brian Mitchell.
Yep.
Ryan Mitchell, who I was close with. Those guys, and Troy Vincent, these guys always talked about preparing for life after football. You never know when that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And my first 2 years, you think you're going to play for 10, 15 years. Like you really have a choice.
Yeah.
And so that was my mindset. But it wasn't until like my third or fourth year, where I really wanted to start taking it serious. And you remember our old PR guy, Derek Boyko.
Oh, he was great. Still with the Bills now.
Yeah, I went up to him and asked him about possibly getting an intern set up. Because at this point, I had done a lot of media stuff.
Right.
I was coming on Daily News Live.
Mm-hmm.
So I was building relationships with people, but I wanted to do it in the off season as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so Derek got in contact with Michelle Murray and some other people over at Comcast. I forget Stephanie's last name.
Smith.
Stephanie Smith. Yep. Got in touch with them, and they were open to the idea of having me come over and just shadow some people, sit in on some production meetings, see some stuff behind the scenes, so I can get a better understanding of how this business works. And they allowed me to do it for like 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they allowed me to go over. I conducted field interviews with the Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. I got to interview Sammy Sosa, Jim Tomei, Larry Boa. I think Dusty Baker was the manager of the Cubs at the time.
He was. Well, this is what's cool, like, because I've worked with a lot of former athletes who only know their sport, only like their sport. One in particular said, dude, I never watched football in my life. I was just great at it, so I played. But and I could say this legitimately, you're a fan of sports. You love hoops. You love baseball, hockey, whatever. You're a big fan of sports.
Golf, tennis, I've been there on all of it.
And it rings true. And I think it's helped you, where you are. I really do.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about it. But you know what, though, Rob? Being a fan of sport obviously is the biggest thing, right? Because you got to enjoy watching.
You got to have a passion for it.
Yeah, you got to have a passion for it. So that's obvious. But talking about it here in Philadelphia is different.
It's a different animal. Like people think, hey, I love sports. I could be great at it. And you're not trying to be like, hey, I'm an athlete. I play the game. You don't want to give them that move. But it's like, there's a lot that goes into it. There is a lot more. But here's what's fascinating. So you get an opportunity with WIP. And you really, man, like you did Ike at Night. Okay. You had that.
Yeah.
You did afternoons with Howard, which was an interesting experience.
Yeah. That, I didn't receive hazard pay either.
Howard wasn't real interested in having a partner. Howard is a solo act. I think we both found that out. You did middays with our buddy Michael Barkat. But it wasn't just automatic boom and everything's great and started boom. Eventually you're here now, man, and you're crushing it. Afternoon Drive with John Marks, but it took even like your pro career, man. It took a while to get to that point.
Oh, no doubt. And a lot of hard work and a lot of patience from our listeners.
Yeah.
That's why I'll always be in debt to our listeners, because I understand I may not have been great to listen to when we first started, because there is an art to doing what we do.
Yep.
And so there isn't just cut the microphone on and just talk and everybody's going to love you. But I think their appreciation for me as a player and being in this town allowed them to be patient with me and allowed me to grow.
Right.
And help me grow and develop as a radio personality in this city. And I wouldn't change any of it, Rob. I wouldn't change the late nights by myself where you had to learn to sink or swim by yourself.
That makes you good, man.
Yeah. You and I, we did pregame shows together where we would do a half show here and somebody else was talking over there.
So weird to look back at that stuff now that they did that.
So I love the fact that I paid my dues.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some guys that are former athletes, they step right off the field and they're
handed to them
a certain position.
Yep.
And I was handed or given an opportunity and told to make the best of it. And and that's what I hope I've done.
Yeah.
And so a lot of help along the way. Guys like yourself, I work with a lot of great people that I got a chance to learn from. But all of you guys, including yourself, Rob, you guys, I can sit back and take something from everybody that I've worked with.
Right.
You know, the fact that you are well prepared when you cut that microphone on, before you cut that microphone on, how you structure a show, things you want to get into, one block to the next block to the next block. Like, you don't understand those things when you're a player,
right?
What goes all into this. So until you're on the other side and see how a show is structured, watching Angelo. I've seen Angelo the few times I was fortunate enough to be on the morning show. This man comes in 3:30 in the morning.
Every morning, without fail. Yep.
And writes his entire show out.
Mm-hmm.
So when I realized how much effort and work is put into this, it gave me a greater respect and appreciation for what this business is about and the people who thrive in this business.
Yeah, well, it's what makes you good, man.
I said, if I want to be respected
and
if I want to be appreciated, then you got to do the work too.
Yep.
And I hope that's what I've done.
Well,
I hope, you know what I never wanted to do, Rob? I never wanted to come off as that former athlete that was given something.
I can tell you sincerely, it's not the case. And there's a reason why you're doing as well as you're doing. It's because of the work that you put in. I can tell you that. I want to hit you with a couple things out the door. And again, you've given us way more time than we even asked for. But we do an agree to disagree. All right. Here's my question I have for you. Will Jalen Hurts go down as a better Eagle quarterback than Donovan McNabb when all is said and done?
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm hitting you with that's a haymaker. That's a Mike Tyson. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
Will Jalen Hurts go down as a better QB than Donovan McNabb?
At the end of when all said and done.
I'm going to put it to you like this. I wouldn't have a problem if he does, because that says he's had a lot of success here as a franchise quarterback here. I still say to this day, Rob, 5 is my quarterback and will always be my quarterback. And he's the last. Now, Jalen may be the guy now, but he's the last franchise quarterback we've had. And franchise quarterback to me is a guy you don't have to worry about the position for a decade.
Yep.
And so if Jalen can accomplish that, along with some of the on-the-field success, I would say I'll be happy to admit that he's a better quarterback than 5. But he has a long way to go.
I will tell you, you can officially run for office after dodging that answer. Nice work, President. President Reese. President Ike Reese. Yes, President Isaiah Reese. Good work out of you. All right, last one for you. Will the Eagles return to the Super Bowl?
Hell yeah, I won't even start on that one, bro.
There's an agree right there. Yes, it is. All right, Ike, listen, man.
Hold on, did you say this year or ever?
This year. You can't get out of that either. Good try.
Yeah.
Good try right there.
This year, brother. Yes, sir.
All right. So I tell everybody, listen to Ike and John Marks every single day, 94 WIP, 2 to 6 2 to 6 afternoon drive. And also, I forgot, I have to tell this. So my favorite Ike story, I'm sorry. I know I'll get you out of here. We're doing the post-game show. We're at a brand new restaurant. This place wasn't even fully constructed yet. They jam Ike and I in some back room. I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
It turns out it is the Deshaun Jackson walk-off punt return
Yes,
game
sir.
where you and I sprint through the bar area, scaring people, run out onto the street, hugging, high-fiving. We sprint back to our little cubby hole in the back and do the post-game show when we both thought this game is over and done with, man.
We had to rip up what we were going to talk about for the
the whole thing was scrapped. The entire preparation that we are talking about right now was like,
yeah.
Goodbye, man.
Yeah. Still, hey, Rob, that is still, man, what a great game. They were down 31-10.
The stuff that happened Vic was incredible.
Yes.
Brent Selleck was incredible.
Yes.
Like there was a million things that had to happen.
Surprise onside kick.
Yes. There you go again. All full circle, man. Yeah.
Man, that is still one of the greatest games. Yeah.
We had fun. We had fun with that.
Miracle in the Meadowlands #3.
I agree with you. I was
a part of #2.
Yeah, you were. Yes, you. And it was a clean block, despite what some people say. Ike, awesome, man. Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate you giving us this time today.
Always a pleasure, Rob. Anytime, brother.
You are the best. That's Ike Reese, Afternoons, 94 WIP. All right, this has been fun today, man. I didn't even get the chance to get into most of the other stuff. Look, Phillies are playing well right now. I think what we're seeing, bats have finally awoke, which we were anticipating. The big question is, Aaron Nola looked great in his last start. Suarez, 2 straight good starts. Zach Wheeler's got to get it together. Taijuan Walker's got to get it together, and they got to figure out that 5th spot. If they do, this thing will get rolling. It will start to get rolling. From a Sixer standpoint, we're in kind of a hold right now. I'm going to be very curious to see what they do from a coaching staff standpoint, because they need to put the right people around Nick Nurse, and I'm hopeful that Nick Nurse is going to be able to get to Joel Embiid. I'm hopeful. Now, there's a lot of other stuff that has to happen with Harden, a lot of questions with Tobias Harris. How do you rebuild this thing? Because you can't run it back. But we'll get into all that next week as well. But this has been fun today. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Everybody in the chat section, thank you for the interaction. And everybody who's been listening, keep it going, man, and tell a friend. We do appreciate it. I am Rob Ellis. This is the Rob Ellis Show on the A2D Radio Network. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging.